Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. Oh boy, we got a show for you today. I'd all like for you to meet my guest, Rodman Schley. Rodman, how are you?
I'm good.
All right, let's open this up by telling them you were actually my very first guest on Truth Talks.
I remember.
I couldn't find anyone else.
Nobody else would do the show.
Nobody else would do it.
I'll call Rodman. He'll come on.
Rodman, he's always looking for a microphone and a video camera, right?
So here we are.
No, the reason I wanted to bring you on, number one, you got a book. We want to promote your book. You've always helped us out. You've given us guests. You've been really good to us, so we wanted to be good back, right? I think that's how business works, right? But we're going to dig into a little bit of your knowledge of real estate. There's a whole lot of things about real estate that I don't know. I think a whole lot of people don't know, but this has actually been your wheelhouse forever.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been a broker since I was 18 years old, been an investor since I was 18 years old. Paid my way through college with real estate. Just been an investor my whole life. Been a valuation expert. I've done it all. I've done it all. And, the thing about it is real estate's big. It's not one thing, right? I mean, you can invest in so many different things. There's so many different ways you can make money doing it. It just kind of depends on what you want to be doing and how you want to make your money doing it. For me right now, and you'll see this in the book, in Vacation Property Secrets, it's about buying short-term vacation rentals, right?
Are you going to plug this the entire time?
Yes.
Are you going to say that like
I
30 times?
At least 30 times.
Okay. Keep saying it. What's the name of your book?
Property Secrets, Mitch. You got it?
Love it.
You got it? So the thing about it is like, for me, I wanted to have an investment tool, though, that also fit with my lifestyle, right? So a lot of people might go do office buildings or do apartment complexes. I wanted short-term vacation rentals because I didn't want to just own the property and get returns on it, but I want to go visit these properties. I want to go there and I want to stay there. I want to experience the property while I'm still making money doing it.
And when somebody asks me about real estate, I'll be like, oh, you know what? It never seems to falter. It seems like it's always a good investment, but we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So a guy like you doing this multi-million-dollar project down in Costa Rica, all the stuff that you've done, that's a wealth of knowledge. But how does someone like me, say we run into a little bit of money, how do you get into real estate? How do you even know what the hell you're doing?
Well, I mean, there's a learning curve. Number one, you got to surround yourself with people who can help you because, like I said, it's big. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of information. It can be complicated for maybe somebody who hasn't had the experience or hasn't, had a chance to kind of get into it. But like the person that you were referring to that came into some money is looking to invest in real estate, right? Somebody like that, she's looking for directions, for answers. How do I understand the returns? How do I make sure that I can maximize what I'm going to put back into my pocket? How can I make the right investment versus the wrong investment? All the time. I mean, you hear it constantly where people are, even now, say the down market. Right now we've got interest rates that just pushed up over 8%, which is insane, right? We've got these housing bubbles that are kind of on the verge, maybe not. We can't quite tell, but the economy is still shifting upwards. So how do you really go in and go, okay, should I buy now? Should I wait? Should I do this? I mean, you need to have the knowledge to make these buying decisions.
But even some people with that knowledge, you'll hear two different stories.
Well, because, everybody's smarter than everybody else, right? I mean, come on. I've got all the time people coming to me and, they try to second guess everything. I've got people who will come in right now and say, well, why would I buy now? The market's down, short-term vacation rentals are plummeting. They're not doing well. It's like, aren't you glad you didn't buy 2 years ago when things were at the top of the market? This is the best time to be buying when things are down because you can look at the investment fundamentals based on where it's at right now, not where it was, a year ago or 2 years ago. Be really glad you didn't invest in that property a year ago, 2 years. It'd be like saying, well, why don't you just go buy my stocks while they're all at the top of the market?
Right?
No, that's dumb.
That
you don't want
makes
to do
sense.
it. Yeah.
And I think anybody's been in any business gets that, right?
Yeah.
What about the person that's got $100,000, but they don't want to? Nobody knows what the hell stock market is doing, right? No. I've always not cared for the stock market, but again, you can't buy something with $100,000, or can you?
No, you can leverage it. I mean, $100,000. If you figure 20% down on something, even 30% down, you're talking about a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 property that you can potentially buy and start to get your money back. You want to leverage real estate, right? Because there are two returns on a property. I could put a full cash into a property. I could say, okay, it's a $500,000 property. I put $500,000 in and I'm going to get X return. But if you can get the right interest rates in that, you can start leveraging it out and you can start getting a higher return to the cash you have in the deal. So, anybody can get into it. Anybody can do it. It does take a little bit of money unless you're really, really savvy. You can get in there and go find these deals where maybe somebody's going to carry and you have a little bit down. Those kind of things, they're out there. You got to go look for them. But anybody can get into real estate. It's just a matter of getting the knowledge, figuring out what you want to do, because it's all about what you want to do. Like for me, again, it was the vacation homes. And that's selfish because I want to go to this. I want to go down to Costa Rica and go, okay, I'm going to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks and deal with the property. When really you're just kind of going down, hanging out your property.
But that kind of actually makes sense to me though, because it's kind of a group of people getting together for a great big project. And I know that that's probably out of touch with a lot of people's finances, but it is a great investment. And so that $100,000, you're saying somebody could leverage that $100,000 into a $300,000 property, let's say. So they get that down and then they leverage that. What about the guy that's got $1 million?
Well, I mean, so again, it's all about.
Do you like single family? Do you like these vacation rentals? What's a guy do?
It depends on their goals, right? I mean,
money.
I'm looking
Money's the goal.
Well, money's always the primary goal, right? What's your secondary goal? But anyway, when you're going into these things, when you're looking at these properties and thinking, what do I want to do? What vehicle do I want? There's different levels of risk, right? So when you're looking at a return on your investment, you got to think it through risk. The more risk, the more return you want, right? Mm-hmm. Risk reward. Do more risk, I want more reward, right? So I could go in and buy, a $50 million apartment complex. And I'm probably going to say, okay, I'm going to buy that on a 5% return on my money, right? Because I'm putting one lump sum into one thing, a lot of units that's just going to kick off cash. So I'm going to reduce the amount that I'm going to expect in return, where something like the short-term vacation rentals, a little bit more risk because they're smaller. You don't have long-term tenants. You have people coming in and out, but I want a higher return. Like I won't buy a single property that is kicking off less than 11% on 100% cash. And then we try to target so we can get a 20% return once we start leveraging it. But I mean, it just depends on their investment goals, their risk tolerance, and then finding that asset class in real estate that moves them, that they like.
Tell me what leverage means. How does someone leverage it?
Well, leverage is just going and getting that financing in place. It's taking that $100,000 and leveraging it out into a $500,000 property. So that's where you are leveraging what you have in your pocket to get something that you couldn't normally afford with your $100,000.
Right.
Right.
What about people who been in their house for 10 or 15 years, they've got massive equity, like what just happened, right? Where your average home in Colorado went to $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And what do you suggest to somebody like that? Would you have pulled out the equity and bought another property?
Well, it depends. So there's a lot of it depends when it comes to real estate, right? Because there's so many different scenarios and things that could happen. But if you think about somebody who's got a lot of equity in their house, number one, the interest rate thing that's happening right now, this phenomenon of raising rates to try to curb inflation, has really changed that whole environment. So like I know with my primary residence, I've got a 3.25% loan on my property. It's paid down quite a bit, but now I wish I would have pulled more out of that thing, at that 3.5%, that 4%, whatever it might have been, because now it's sitting at 8%. So if I'm going to pull out cash, I got to look at it and go, okay, I can pull cash, but it's going to cost me 8%. Now, does that make sense? Can I go find an investment vehicle in real estate that's going to make me more than the 8% that it's costing me? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So it's a matter of coming in and going, what are my goals? Is it worth pulling it out? Can I get a return on a price? So why would I pull out at 8%? Why would I pull out $1 million and go buy something that's going to kick off a 6% return?
Right.
Unless you can leverage it out and get over the 8%, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, it depends.
It's a lot of it depends.
And that's what real estate is. I mean, and really kind of honestly, let's just put it out there. Everything's kind of, it depends, right?
Right.
I mean, there's so many different things that can impact another thing. So you got to really do deep dives and really look at each component of it. And if you're not looking at the components and you're just buying based on gut, so many people, that's the biggest mistake they make in real estate, is they're going, I bought it because I liked it. I bought it because I think I could make money. I bought it because I think I could do this, right? I try to teach people, especially like in the book, it's like.
What's the name of your book again?
What is it? You tell me.
It's The Vacation Property Secrets.
Yeah, that's right.
The Insider's Guide to Investing in Vacation Properties.
I mean, the thing is this is the analytical approach to it, right? I mean, so this helps people take the gut and the feelings out of it and look at it from an analytical standpoint. Can I dissect the cash flows? How much money can I make? How much can I take out and put into this and still make money? It dives deep into the analytics, and I'm kind of an analytic nerd. I mean, I operate on a lot of emotion in general in life, but the analytics behind buying real estate, I'll not buy a piece of real estate ever without knowing the analytics behind it.
So why is real estate always one of your best investments?
Well, number one, it won't go to zero. It can't unless the world implodes, right? I mean, at the end of the day, here's the thing. I go buy a stock. There's no guarantee that company is going to be solvent or it's going to be there forever, right? Oh, I guess I could go buy Coca-Cola and, that's probably going to be okay forever, right? Yeah. But there's people who will come in and they'll put into these different ventures or these different funds for these startup companies, right? That company could be gone in 12 months. And guess what you're left with? Zero. Like I've got my private equity fund, which is here's another selfless plug.
We love them.
For the Blue Fusion private equity fund is what I've got. So, people come in and they invest with us. And I always tell them, it's like, we'll never go to zero. We can't because, we're buying real estate, right? So we're coming in, that house could burn to the ground and you're going to be insured and you're going to get cash back, or you're still going to have the land value. It can't go to zero, right? So you've got this level of protection with real estate. The other thing is real estate is so cyclical. And we've been, the economic cycles since, let's say since 2000 have been really, really weird anyway, right? You had the .com bust that happened in the early 2000s. And then in 2008 and 2009, you had those bank crises. And then, now we've got what they're trying to do. So we've had this crazy thing from like 2010 here where real estate's just gone like this, right? It's just gone up and up and up and up. And here we are now throwing all these big interest rates at it going, hell, we need to slow our butts down, right? Because of this inflation factor. So what you've got happening then is you've got this cycle that has extended well past a normal economic cycle for real estate. So I'm sitting back right now too, looking at it going, okay, bust. When are you coming? Are you not coming? Are you going to be just a little blip and then we're going to go again? It's really hard to see right now. But if in 2008, 2009, if you could have bought $5 million in real estate, you wouldn't be sitting here with me. You'd be sipping cocktails somewhere. Well, you might still be here with me.
I don't know. I've made a lot of bad choices in my life, obviously. Obviously, this isn't one of my better ones right here. But the question that everybody would want to ask the expert, and you are an expert. I mean, we are friends, but you are an expert, regardless of how that makes me feel personally. But is there no end to real estate, though? I mean, you get these, you buy $1.5 million house here in Colorado, and it just can't go any higher. Is that good? Is that a good investment?
I'll tell you, I remember my dad telling me a story when we lived in Huntington Beach, California back in 1969, right? He had a home there in Huntington Beach, which is a beautiful area, right? Nice home, great area, close to the beach. He bought it for $28,000. And he was thinking, oh, prices just couldn't possibly go up any higher, could they? Right? Every single time you benchmark, every single time you're looking at these things, people say the same, but it's all relevant to where we're at. Think about, how wages have escalated. Think about, values go up, but so do wages. I mean, we inflate and we appreciate, right? So at the end of the day, can we go up? You and I will have a conversation in 10 years and we'll look back and go, man, you remember when they only used to be $1.2 million for that place? Right?
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I remember being in high school thinking, man, I can't wait till when I'm old, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to live in $1 million mansion. Right? That was the thing. It's like now I go, well, geez, man, I should have shot a little higher because $1 million,
Well, I just saw something on the news the other day that Bill Gates has some house. I don't even know where it was at now. It is on a waterfront somewhere. He paid $12.5 million, and now it's at $54 million.
Yeah.
It is all. I mean, it appears that real estate's also just like a money shelter for people as well.
Well, so one of the biggest ways people build wealth in life is through real estate, right? That's how we build our wealth because, we want our real estate to appreciate. It has a lot to do with some of the gaps we also have, when you talk about racial equality in owning homes, right? The percentage of people who are minorities compared to the percentage of people who are white who own homes, the gap is huge. It's part of the wealth gap. It's a real issue too. But I always say we need to make sure that people can buy real estate. People can get into their own homes so that they have the same opportunities to build out generational wealth, right, over time. And it's a pretty big issue right now. I always look at it and there's not a lot of solutions. It's a pretty tough and complex thing right now. But at the same time, wealth is built through real estate.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's why, it's always kind of intrigued me. But it seems complicated. Like it seems real complicated. And I know you've been doing it your whole life and you wrote a book called Vacation Property Secrets. It looks a lot like this one right here. And
that's a good-looking guy on the cover there.
That's a good-looking guy right there.
I'm telling you.
But it is something that I would agree with you on, that it is almost the primary way of building wealth right now. It doesn't seem like people are building it any other way.
Well, I mean, think about, when I first moved to Colorado, I moved out here in 1998. And the first home that I bought wasn't too far from where we're at right now. And I bought it as a 4-bedroom home, as a brand new home. It was in a tract home area, which I don't do anymore. But the home we bought was $170,000, right? And I was coming in from living in Omaha, Nebraska, and I had sticker shock. I mean, I was high. I was like, oh my God, 170, who pays that, right? But I got back here and I look at that house now and you think about it, I couldn't get that house for $500,000 here. No way. Right. So at the end of the day, if you're, thinking long term, that's why it's so important to get into real estate. It's so important to have that ownership, because that appreciation, again, you can be sitting there going to your job and getting your wage increases or whatever, but your real estate is going to be doing this too. Right.
So I kind of want to talk about what you're doing here. So there's a guy, let's leave him unmentioned. I don't think you care for him as much, and I don't really care for him as much. I know.
Okay.
We'll leave him nameless.
Okay.
We don't care about him, but it's a little shady.
Highly successful.
Yeah. Little shady on that things.
Yeah.
And from what I've read and what I understand, you don't always get what you put your money in for,
Mm-hmm.
right? But can people that say, they save up $100,000,
Mm-hmm.
can they invest with you and own real estate?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like for years, so many people have wanted to invest with me, and I've always said no. I just, I'm doing my own thing. I don't have the time. I do a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so finally, that's why I started the private equity fund that I started, because, it's one of those things where some people don't want to manage these properties. It's like, I want to invest in real estate. I want to be a part of the appreciation, but man, I don't want to deal with the tenant. I don't want to deal with the headaches. I don't want to deal with any of that. So that's why I started that fund, and not just for that reason, but for the people too who've wanted to invest with me for so long. So it's been a great part of the journey. I mean, we've got a great investor base. Our fund's open. I know that this is going to be a time-stamped show, but through probably the middle of 2024, we'll have the fund open for outside investors. But it was one of those things where when you do a fund, you can do like a Reg A or a Reg D. There's different types of funds. And a Reg D, for an example, will just take accredited investors. So it's a fund where you would have to have a lot of money. You'd have to be accredited. You'd have to go through a process. And it eliminates a lot of these people who are still like, I want to be in real estate, but I can't. This is only open to an accredited investor. So we did a Reg A is what we did. So the Reg A allows anybody, accredited or non-accredited investors, to come in and invest in the fund. So, and again, that was a little bit to do with the fact that I had a lot of people who wanted to invest with me for years, right? Just they've wanted to be in the game with me, if you will. And the Reg A is what allowed them to do that, because they don't have to be accredited. So we've got people that'll actually do as little as $2,000 into our fund and can be investing in real estate for as little as $2,000. Doesn't take $100,000. Yeah.
And what kind of return do they get with that?
Well, it depends on how the properties perform, right? So, like I said, when I'm buying properties, we deal with what we call cap rates. It's kind of like a return on your money, a cap rate, right? So I'm looking at every deal that we do. I won't even look at something that doesn't pencil out over an 11 cap. So I want it to do that, and then I want to leverage that property out to try to get it pushing closer towards our targets, closer to the 20% return is what we want to get annually, right? And then get that appreciation and get everything else over the hold period. So we look at holding our properties like 7 to 10 years.
So I mean, because that's another reason I wanted to bring you back on here, because I'm seeing just so much of this. The world is a disaster right now. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure out, man, how do I do this? But real estate is complicated for those who don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's really complicated.
Yeah, and it depends on, again, comes back to your goals. If you're the guy who doesn't want to, who doesn't want to manage it daily, who doesn't want to deal with the people, doesn't want to deal, then you don't want to go buy something that's going to be a pain in your butt.
Yeah.
Right? You want to have somebody like me, or there's other funds out there also for people who are, it's like, here, go invest in the real estate and handle it for me.
Exactly.
And then let me know quarterly how I'm doing, right?
So let me ask you this. Why'd you write the book?
Well, for a couple of reasons. For me, it's all about passing back down a lot of the knowledge that I've learned. I've had a wonderful, wonderful career in real estate. I'm an entrepreneur in general. I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things, but real estate's always kind of been my core, right? So for me, we've talked about this before, I believe, but I think there's 3 phases in life. It's that first phase where you're young and dumb, you're learning, you're trying to figure it out, you're going through the process, you're getting mentors, you're working, with people who are smarter than you. I still do that a lot, but that's kind of phase 1. And then, phase 2, you dial it in. It's like, okay, I think I got this figured out, right? And then it's, how do I capitalize on it? How do I be good at it? How do I implement it? How do I put it into my life? How do I integrate all these things in my life, right? And then there's that phase 3 where it's like, okay, I've had such a wonderful, I've taken from the system so much. I've been given so much, and it's all up here. I want to take that, and it's time to pass it down, right? So that's what books are, man. It's somebody sitting at home who needs to hear what you got upstairs in your head. They need to hear from you. They need your superpowers. They need to know what you know. And somebody's dying for you to write this book, right?
Right.
And so I put it all in a book.
So what will it teach us?
Well, again, it's going to teach you the analytics. I mean, literally, this book, and I write very different. So I've got another book that's coming out next year that's going to be more about, it's going to be the outlier mindset, which is about being different and how to be an entrepreneur and how to really go at life.
A lot less pictures.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
You can color.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a coloring book. It's great. It's fantastic. But this book, it's very detailed. It's very analytic. So it's one of those books where you're going to go in and you're going to learn how to do the work. If you want from A to Z to learn how to buy a vacation home, how to cash flow a vacation home, how to market it, how to put it on the different rental sources, how to get it out into the world, how to get management in place, it breaks the whole process down. Because there's that, we live in Colorado. People love to go up into the mountains, right? They love to go skiing. So it's like, well, I live down here, but I want to go up to Breckenridge on the weekends. So I'm going to buy a place up there, but I want to rent it when I can't go to try to at least offset my costs, right? When we buy stuff, we're not looking to offset costs. We're looking to make money, right? We buy it primarily as an investment first, but there's these people who might look at it and go, okay, I'm going to learn how to do the cash flow so that I can see what I need to do to break even when I buy that house. So I don't have to pay a dime. I might put my down payment in. Other people are going to rent it. They're going to pay for it for me. And then it's going to appreciate over time. And I'm going to have, a really good asset.
And it's possible because you have the analytics in there.
Yeah, but you got to have the analytics. So most people do the opposite thing. They go up, they go, oh, I love it up here.
Right.
How much is this? Okay. And they have no idea. They have no idea what kind of income they can generate. They have no idea how to do their expenses. They have no idea that they're going to have management fees. They have no idea that they're going to have Airbnb fees. There's just so many things that you don't think through when you're buying your vacation home. And that's kind of why this book says, hey, go in smart, go in analytical, and make money doing it.
It's awesome. One of the things when we started Truth Talks, it was always like, if I'm going to bring on a guest, the guest is going to be legit. And we have fun. I've known you way too well. So way too well. So it's hard to have a serious conversation with you without laughing or poking or something. But I will say this. Of all the people I know, there's not a lot I would invest money with for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You, I absolutely would. And so when we talk about, bringing on a show or doing a podcast on something, I do want listeners to get something out of it. And I want them to take value from what it is that we do. So tell us a little bit about your investment group. Who is it and how do they find out? And I'm sorry if you get a bunch of calls. People want to invest $2,000, but
yeah, whatever. No, if I didn't want a bunch of $2,000 investors, I wouldn't put it out there.
Right.
Like for me, it was about how can we serve people that couldn't ordinarily get into real estate, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons we're doing it. That's why we went for a reggae. So, we don't care if it's a $2,000 person or a $1 million person. We treat them just the same. I mean, because every single dollar that somebody puts into the fund is a college education, is a retirement dollar, is a next home dollar, is a next, you know what I mean? Like, we take every single person, every single investor, every single dollar, it's treated the same.
And I know that
means
to
a
be
lot
true
to
with
people.
you.
Yeah.
I know that to be true. So where do they go?
So if they're going to check us out, tell them to go to, well, I'll tell you.
You
right?
tell them.
I'll tell them.
Horse's mouth.
Yeah, that's right. Bluefusioncapital.com. You can go, you can learn about the fund, you can learn about what we're doing, and kind of see the returns that we project, the places that we're going. And right now we're really deep into Costa Rica and absolutely love it down there. It's a place that I'm investing in right now with the fund, and the income fundamentals are really good down there. The returns are really good down there. The properties are awesome. Like, the stuff we're buying is like, literally we're flying in, we're walking 2-3 blocks to the beach, surfing in the morning and working in the afternoon. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place to be investing. But if they're also interested in the book, it's vacationpropertysecrets.com. That'll also link them over to the fund. They can find the fund through that site too.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I really, again, I only like to run shows that are going to benefit somebody. And we ran your story before, kind of how you got into this. So it was episode 1. That's an easy one to remember, right?
Yeah.
And I do. I've always appreciated you. God knows our circles come around a lot of years now. Gets crazier every year, actually.
Yeah.
Who knows what next year looks like,
but that's what life's about.
It's what life's about.
Fun.
But money's hard to come by. It's getting harder to come by, and things are super duper risky. Couldn't tell anybody enough. If you are going to do an investment, there's no more honest person out there than you are. God, it sucks to have to say all this nice stuff about you, man.
Hey, you can crack on me afterwards.
Okay, I will once we turn them off.
Start razzing me again.
But I do believe that investing in real estate is about the only way to go anymore, given the torturous world we live in. So I know you can help these people out. Again, I also want people to know that it doesn't take $1 million, doesn't take $5 million, it doesn't take even 100,000, according to what you're talking about. So hopefully people will hit you up on that, take advantage of it, and make some money and create some dreams.
Yeah, for sure. And go out, buy the book. If you want to do it yourself too, buy the book. Get questions, hit me up.
We'll show the book to the camera, and we'll show it to my camera there. That book right there. It's a striking young gentleman.
I'm telling you, look at that.
There.
Look at that.
And then hold it up to your camera too, so people can see it from you.
You know what the funny story is about this? It's like, so when you do a book cover, there's different iterations of the cover, right?
Right.
So this is probably iteration about, maybe 15. But there was a part on the cover where, like, literally the first one, I was standing like this. I'm large and in charge, right?
Well, you sent it out for comment.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I said, you look like Andre the Giant there, bro. What are you doing?
I know, right?
And you never took any of mine. I think I even like the darker cover.
Well, this is kind of the middle ground, but they had me open my arms up on it. So they're like, listen, don't say property secrets and they go, I'm not telling you the secrets. Say, here are the secrets. Now, I'm really excited about this book. I think, the good thing is it's a book like this, and it's kind of a no-brainer, because like a book like this is $27. $27. I guarantee you, if you're going to buy a vacation home, you'll save thousands of dollars by having this knowledge. It's a no-brainer, right? You got to buy the book because you're going to save yourself so much money on the other side of the equation. Take the heart out of it. You can have a little bit of heart in there, right? I mean,
right.
It's like there's places you want to go. Keep that heart part of it, right? But when you're making your buying decisions and looking at the fundamentals, that's how you're really going to do well. And that's where you're going to get an investment you're going to be sitting on for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, looking back and going, wow, right?
Most people don't know you. Probably a good thing. Most people don't know you. But you've been into a lot of things and you've been successful at all of them. Obviously, real estate is your baby. Where you started, where you're most successful. But it is kind of fun because people are going to be able to check you out in different things. You have your own podcast. Mm-hmm. Plug it. I'm giving you a freebie.
Yeah. The Outlier Mindset, that's going to release at the 1st of next year. So in 2024, January. And that'll go with the book that we're putting out, The Outlier Mindset. Again, it's a give back piece. Like, I just want to give so much back into the people who have been so good to me.
And you do. And, I don't know if it ever comes across the way you want it to when you're doing a show like this, but you're genuine like that. You do want to give back. And I know some people get on there and they say shit like that, and it's like, I don't think you do. You do. And I hope people feel that. And I don't know if our chemistry, just from knowing each other well enough, if I got that across, but I hope I did. You're as genuine as it gets.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, there are people in life that are going to pluck as much as they can pluck out of you. And then there's those people in life that are givers, that give back into it, right? And I'm always under the belief that you should always be getting up. And if you're taking more than you're giving, you're just out of balance. You're always going to be, why am I not succeeding? Why am I not moving forward? Why am I not evolving? Well, it's because you're trying to take too much out of the system without putting back into it, right? You should always lead with service. If you're not leading with service, you're always going to be wondering why you're not moving as quickly in life as you want to be. It's a simple equation.
So much truth to that. And, again, we probably shouldn't shamelessly plug stuff, but,
why stop at this point?
Well, good point. But you're associated with some of the biggest names in the world, and you don't get there by being lucky. You don't get there by not giving and doing that. And so, a lot of people won't know you. They won't know who you are. And it's kind of one of those things that they do need to know who they're dealing with, right? And so you rub shoulders with some of the biggest in the business, and that's why they need to go $27. That's a pretty good investment.
It's the best investment. I mean, $27 to save thousands, no brainer.
It's almost like a lunch you could buy me this afternoon or something. $27. All right, Rodman Schley, I appreciate you coming on the show once again. Hopefully we sell a bunch of stuff for you, and I hope everybody calls you up. The safe investment, do the right thing. Guy's going to give back, and I think it's a great value for anybody looking to make money on real estate.
I love you, man.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.